Casual Magic has been brought to you by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can get cool stuff. Use the code CASUAL for 5% off your order. We're also sponsored by Quiver Time, makers of the Quiver and Bolt deck cases and other fine card holding accessories. Use the code CASUAL on their site for 10% off your purchase. And by Architect, a deck hosting website that doesn't sell anything, but they like me and I like them, so kindly use them for all your deck list needs. Now, on to the show. Hello and welcome to Casual Magic, the show where we talk about the fun side of Magic the Gathering. My name is Shivam Bhatt, and Casual Magic is brought to you by Cool Stuff Inc., Architect, and Quiver. Today I'm super excited. I have Esmond Heng from Singapore here to join me to talk about Magic on the other side of the planet from where I live, in the straits that I love so much. And I know that you have your own Commander channel as well on YouTube. I think it's like Quintessential Commander or something.
Quintessential MTG, that's right.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
very cool. And so I was super stoked because I saw you on Rebel's video when she went to Singapore, and I was like, oh, I've
Oh
been
yeah.
wanting to talk to somebody from Singapore for a long time. So I'm really,
Yeah.
really excited that you could join me today. Thank you so much.
No, thanks for inviting me. Awesome to be
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
It's a little known fact because it doesn't come up in Magic a lot, but Singapore is one of my favorite cities in the world. And every time I've gone, like, because I live in California and my
Mhm.
family's from India. So every time when I was a child, we would go to India from Cali. You would always stop in Singapore because the trip took like 2 days, right? So it's like,
Wow.
17 hours from here to Singapore, and then you stop and we get to spend like a day in Singapore because there's like a 12-hour delay between the flights. And then we pick up and go from Singapore to Bombay and back to home or whatever. So I have spent a lot of random amount of time in Singapore and I love the city so much. So I'm super stoked to talk to you about it and to see what it's like to play Magic there.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I think it's a common experience. A lot like Singapore is just a hub for people to stop over.
Yeah.
Even people going to Japan, they also stop over. So yeah, it's a nice place. It's a small place,
Yeah, but it's
and
like
yeah.
right in the exact location that everybody wants to go through. So
Yes, yeah. Well, like the international port.
yeah, because when I lived in Japan, my wife and I, we were living in Japan together, and we decided to take a vacation, and we decided to go to Singapore and then to Kuala Lumpur.
Oh,
And so, yeah, it was super fun to just go back to see all the places I used to go visit as a kid and go to all the temples and stuff, and then
yeah.
eat at like my favorite restaurant in the world, Banana Leaf Apollo, which is just like the best Indian
Oh,
restaurant basically
yeah.
anywhere. And
Yes,
so,
yes. It's anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
so like seriously, I love Singapore. I like it's funny because like we're talking and they just announced like the Lord of the Rings set. And
Mm.
in 2001 or 2 or whatever, when Lord of the Rings Return of the King came out, I was going to India to visit my family, and I stopped in Singapore, and it was like Christmas, and so it's, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, humid, you can smell the fish everywhere, it's gross, and you see people wearing Santa caps walking around, and Return of the King in the theaters. I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna go watch, the Lord of the Rings movie in Singapore on Christmas in the middle of, like, blazing heat," and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Um Sorry, I have a lot of stupid Singapore stories about just me bumming around.
No, it's always
And
hot here. It's hot the whole year round. Except of when Rebel was here, it was actually raining very heavily because we have this like monsoon period in the beginning months of the year. So
yeah,
if you're just here when it rains, it's just thunderstorms and flash
delusion, right?
floods.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very, very
so
violent rain.
yeah, so my question is, we play Magic. Magic cards are made of paper. The
Mhm.
humidity there must just mess up your cards a lot, don't they?
Well,
Like, make everything
actually,
curve or
they
whatever?
just mess up the foils a lot.
Mm.
So the
Well, I mean,
foils they curl like really into a C shape,
to
so
be fair, I don't
they
think
can
anybody
stand
in
up.
the world has foils that are flat anymore.
Yeah,
Wizard just doesn't care. They're
yeah,
all just
yeah,
boats. They
yeah. They are just curled. But yeah, it's talking of magic. I think from what Rebel told me, it used to be bigger in Singapore
Really?
back when she was here about 15 years ago. So I
Mm.
only started playing magic at Ixalan or Amongkat
Oh, wow,
period.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
So
that was
not
I say really, but that was like 5 years ago. That
I
was,
know,
like,
right?
quite
It
a long
seems
time ago.
recent, yeah, but it's not that recent. So it's about 5, 6 years ago, and
S Yeah, actually, so let's talk about that. How did you find Magic in the first place? Because 'Cause I'm always interested, especially as, like, being one of the people who helps run Commander, I'm
Mm.
curious how people outside of America and Europe, the standard places people play Magic, how do you find Magic? How do you get into it? And then how do you find Commander from there?
I know, right? So the funny thing is that I have this friend, a very close friend of mine. His name is Gabriel. He's always on the show as well. So he went to the UK to study,
Mm,
and that's where he found Magic. He had a local game shop right where he was staying, and then he wanted to try play Magic. He went in and started playing, and then when we came back to Singapore after we finished studying, he was the one who introduced me to Magic. He bought me this Chandra Planeswalker deck.
mm.
And we just I think we played for like 1 week. Every night we were just playing just kitchen table Magic. He had this zombie deck, actually, a graveyard deck, and I had this stupid Chandra Planeswalker deck, and I always lost.
Those Planeswalker decks were so bad. They were so bad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was so bad. It was so bad. So
But
because
yeah,
of that, I
mm,
started getting into it more and trying to upgrade the deck. And then we started looking for local game shops and playing standard events. And
mm.
that's really how we got started with Magic. Yeah.
So how like man, I always feel bad for people who started with those stupid Planeswalker decks, which were like just deeply, deeply underpowered, and there was nothing good.
Yeah.
I think I found like 2 cards from them that are useful elsewhere, but just like those decks were not. I'm glad that they phased them out.
Not bad.
It's
Not good.
they
I, I,
much
I
better
do
now.
I do wish that I kept it though, because like I find the idea of having the planeswalker, and then there's always this other card that tutors up the planeswalker.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's pretty interesting now that I think about it, but I can't find it
Yeah, it's
anywhere.
funny
I
because
must
like
have lost it.
I'll send
Yeah.
you mine. Um, because I have the Liliana one that they put out, and that's surprisingly really good in my Hapatra EDH deck
Ah,
because she's all about -1/-1 counters,
yeah.
and then the card that tutors for her also puts like -1/-1 counters on everything. So it's actually a surprisingly strong card in my deck. And
It
people
could
always
work,
look at it
right?
like,
Yeah.
yeah, and people look at it like, where the hell did you even get this Liliana
Yeah.
from? I'm like, it's from the starter deck you didn't buy,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so like how thrive like when you were out going to the stores to try to find magic to play or standard or whatever, is there a big scene there or was there like any scene or how many game stores are even in Singapore?
Okay, so okay, right now, like in 2023, we have four premium game stores. So these are the big WPN premium stores. And then
Oh, nice.
besides that, there are a bunch of other stores, maybe like five or six that specialize in magic.
Hmm.
And for a small country, we're like 50 kilometers across. it's
Yeah,
it's quite a lot of stores.
that's actually that's a surprising amount, especially for a country that, like, when I was there, it was far more into, like, playing multiplayer video games. Because I
Yeah,
remember I would go around and I would see, like, all the little arcades or something, the rooms with the long kiosks of LAN people playing
land
Counter Strike
shops.
or yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Like, I wanna call them PC bongs, but that's what they call them in Korea, not I don't know what they call them there.
Mm,
But, yeah, like, you just go in and there's, like, a million people playing, like, Counter Strike or Unreal or whatever it was at the time,
yeah.
and I didn't see many card shops there, except for I would see a few kiosks or random people at Subways who just had like a cart full of cards that they're kind of selling, um, which is wild. But is there? How is it? I mean, how many people play, or how many roughly? Like, is it a big enough community that you guys can get together and do things?
Yeah, so currently, like, we have like a national Telegram group. So
Mm,
so
that's right.
we have a Singapore commander group, and people just talk to each other, and they arrange meetups to play commander games. So how it works is that they just put a location and a timing, and then we can see who responds, and we just plan a meetup from there.
So,
But
do you guys
otherwise,
play?
yeah.
Do you play at people's houses or do you play at stores generally?
So I personally play it at stores generally, but I know
Mm,
that there are a lot of groups out there that go to people's houses and they play with their own group. Yeah,
mm,
yeah,
cool, man. I'm just like it's fascinating to me because Singapore is like it's a moderate sized city. It's pretty big. It's not like
yeah.
tiny, but it's still very cramped. And um, how did you find Commander then? If you were starting to play Standard and stuff like that.
That's a good question, actually. I think so we were playing standard, and then we got into modern, And then
Mm,
Gabriel, as again, he was the one who wanted to buy the 2017 precons,
mm.
the Arabo one with
Oh, those are very good.
Edgar Markov, yeah, those the Eminence ones.
Yes.
So after he got that, then we just tested it out. We just tried it out for fun, and I guess that's how we started because from there I remember going through my collection and kind of trying to piece together my own commander deck. And at that time when you're building your first commander deck, it's a huge undertaking because
Oh,
you're like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, it's 100 cards.
That's
Uh
exactly the problem. It's like people don't realize how daunting it is to put together a commander deck from scratch. You're like, okay,
yeah.
I have a legend, and then I have like 600 cards I want to put in this
Yeah.
deck, and I
Yeah.
have only 100 space. And then they put it in, and they're like, crap, where do I put my land? So I have to cut another 40
Yeah.
cards from my deck, and it's like, oh no,
Yeah.
what do I do? It's so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's daunting. It's yeah.
What was your first commander?
Oh, okay. So my first proper commander was also a precon.
Mm,
The Enchantress. Currently it's Tuvasa, but I think the
yeah,
face commander is
it was
I
the Planeswalker.
the
Essica?
Planeswalker. Yeah, no, not S. It
No,
starts with
not
an E
Essica. It
though.
was God, what
L.
you know what's funny? 'Cause I took that deck, I put Tuvasa in the front, and I never looked back.
Yeah,
It's
same
this
here. Yeah, that's
the
what I
chick
did.
with the
That's exactly what
masks.
I did. Yeah, Estrid.
What the
Estrid.
heck's her name? She Estrid. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Estrid
yeah.
deck. That deck is hella good. That deck is
It's
really,
so
really
good.
strong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I loved it. And so me and my wife, she got the Windgrace one, and I got the
Mm,
Tuvasa one.
oh, geez.
So yeah,
Does your wife play as well?
yeah, yeah, she does.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we actually just rebuilt the Windgrace one with the new secret lair.
Oh,
The
nice. The
yeah,
kitties.
the cute one, yeah. So she's excited about that. Yeah.
God, Windgrace is such a monster, and then they give it an adorable little card, and you're like,
I know, right?
"Alright, thanks a lot, buddy." Like,
Yeah, but she loves it. And I still have my Tuvasa deck. I still love it. It's so cool just drawing a bunch of cards,
oh, yeah.
making it huge, yeah.
My Tuvasa deck wins by drawing infinite like, a million cards, you stick Eldrazi Conscription on it, and then just slam in for, like, 21, 40, 60 million damage. Just punch you in the face a lot. I like winning through Voltron, it makes me very happy. Um,
Yeah.
cool. Man, I like the way you play, man. If you're going in from like, Chandra's crappy Planeswalker deck to, like, Tuvasa, I'm here for that.
Well, the Chandra wasn't my deck, it was
Yeah, I
given
mean,
to
you
me,
you play
so
what
I
you're
didn't have a
given,
choice
right?
in that. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so, like, is Commander popular there?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's by far I think the most popular format.
Hmm.
Mm.
Does it lean more competitive or more just, like, chill out, casual Commander?
Chill out, chill out. We do have some people who are more focused into competitive, but majority is just casual. Yeah, pre-con
That's
plus kind of decks. Yeah.
I appreciate that a lot. Where I live, because of my proximity to where Channel Fireball is, all of the
Mm.
players wanted to be, like, really hardcore spike grinders, so all their commander decks end up being really spiky commander decks. I'm like, "Come on, guys. I just wanna play, like, Marshmallow Commander, please leave me alone."
Yeah,
Uh,
I know, right? Yeah, those are the best.
yeah, so tell me about it, the scene there, like, what where do you get your cards from? Like, what language are they in?
Oh, okay, okay. So I think this was an interesting point because Rebel, when she came here, she was like, "Oh wow, I'm so surprised! All the shops have their own singles card stock."
Mhm.
So that's where we get our cards from. All the local game stores here, they have a huge inventory of singles, and
Huh.
it's mostly in English. It's like 99% English. All the cards are in English, and each of them have like their own web store.
Oh.
So you can just order it online. You can either pick it up yourself or you can have it shipped to you.
Mhm.
It's really your choice. It's quite flexible, and it's great for us because we can kind of compare all the prices at once. Y- Like, yeah,
Yeah. So it's
yeah.
the same as, like, having your card kingdoms and your star cities and what have yous over here.
Exactly, yeah, just that these are smaller, and,
Mm.
within driving distance, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, It's to get to where cool stuff is or to get to where Star City is, if I wanted to go to their physical stores, it would be like an 8-hour plane ride for me.
What?
It's literally on the other side of the continent.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, at least Card Kingdom store is only like a 2-hour plane ride from me, but it's still like 900 miles north from me if I wanted to go to their store. Channel Fireball is only a 2-hour drive away from my house, so that's not that bad, or at least it
Okay,
used to be.
okay.
But it's
That's
like
that's crazy though. The furthest store from me, it's in Jurong, which is on the other side of the country. I think it'll take me like 45 minutes to get there.
Yeah, and now mind you, I'm just talking about those are the mega stores, right? Like every
Mm.
city in America's got like 30 million little LGSs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I can
Yeah.
get to the store that I actually play at, I can drive there in like half an hour. It's fine. It's lovely. It's just right on the ocean, so you can see the waves and the sun setting in the Pacific while you play. It's beautiful.
Right. That sounds
But
amazing.
yeah, but you live on an island. You can see the sun setting on the Pacific any day you want. It's um
No, we have buildings. We have so many buildings. I can't
yeah,
see
God.
anything. Yeah.
Singapore is such a beautiful city. It makes me so happy to go there every time. It's weird though, because it's like I'm not used to seeing majority Asians in such a like Western
Mm,
city. Like it's, I mean, even though
mm.
I live in San Francisco, which is majority Asians in Western city, but it's like there's Indian people and there's Chinese and there's Malay
Yeah.
and then the
Yeah.
food is good.
Yeah.
It's it's like it's so chill there. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not
It is
not
chill.
the nicest government in the world, but it's really cool. Like, I got very into local politics when I was in Singapore because,
Ah.
when I went the last time, there was elections going on there, and so obviously
Ah.
that's all anyone's talking about, and
Yeah.
I'm a political junkie, so I like to pay attention to whatever elections are, and by the end of it, I was having arguments about people about, like, their local random, council member from the apartment block that they live in or whatever, and, like, my wife is looking at me like, "Why do you care about the, PDP over here or, Li
Yeah.
Ching?" I'm like, "But you don't understand. That guy wants to raise taxes on melons, and I'm not here for that." And it's like, Jesus Christ. It's funny because like, Singapore is so small, so all the politics feel super local, but it's a country, so all that is also just, like, international stuff, and then you like, because I still read stuff like the Straits Times all the time, just because I
Wow.
enjoy reading, like, the news of because it's the best English language news for that part of the world,
For
and
sure.
I'm
Yeah.
just like I like to see what other people have to say. So I like all the time I'm reading about, like, trade disputes and pirates from Indonesia and all this crap, and it's so much fun. Um, uh, it's weird, I don't get to talk about this stuff on my show. My show's about magic. Nobody cares about what I think
I know,
about
right?
Southeast Asia, but I love Southeast Asia so much. Um, have you been outside of Singapore?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
To
I mean, I've traveled quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I
So,
say that like I don't mean it like a oh you've only been over there, but like
yeah,
because I
yeah.
know that like, for you to go to Malaysia or something, it's like a half an hour train ride north, or it's not that big of a deal.
Pretty
Um,
much, yeah.
yeah, because like it's wild because Singapore is such a hyper modern city, so of course you're gonna have like all of these like. So my question is, do you have to pay like import fees to play like Magic? Because for instance, in Brazil, it's very hard to get Magic cards. They have to import them, and then it takes forever to get through like customs and stuff. And they get cards
Mm.
in every language because who knows where they're coming from, and they just order them from anywhere. But
Wow.
Singapore's probably got yeah. Like there was a time I was talking to Scott Larrabee, and he was telling me that they had a pre-release for a set. It took almost a year and a half to get through customs to get to people out there. And I'm like, dude,
Oh my
how
gosh.
they're like a year behind. And it's like there's a reason why Brazil is so proxy friendly because like you just can't get cards. The government
Wow.
just won't
Yeah,
let
that's
them through.
crazy. Yeah.
And yeah, but like Singapore's a modern city, so you guys can get cards the same
Yeah,
time we
yeah,
do.
no, 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 Singapore is fine. We get them, I mean, there's a Hasbro office here, there's a Wizards,
Oh, well, that makes
you know
sense.
yeah,
Because
so we can get them.
the only reason I ask that is because, like, you always see these, like, notes on the website saying, "Oh, such and such a set is delayed in Asia." And I'm like,
Yes,
"Ah."
it's so frustrating, like, it happens to us all the time with, pre-cons and bundles, so
Mhm.
those are for some reason, those get delayed the most often, and we get them maybe what a month after the release date.
It's so
So I
annoying.
have no idea why. Yeah,
And
and it's so
I just read
frustrating.
that, I'm like, "Man, it sucks to be in Singapore if you're
It
just trying to play
yeah, it
cards,"
kinda
and, like,
sucks. Yeah.
it's just like, well, you'll get them when they show up, or you won't.
Yeah, yeah, on the boat, yeah.
Yeah,
But
seriously.
we do get the draft boosters, set boosters, collector boosters. We get those on time usually.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
so, but when we're commander players, we want the precons, right? Like,
I
we want the
know, right?
commander deck.
I know.
So, tell me about the, like, because I know that there have been, like, PTs and GPs in Singapore before,
Mm,
and, like, but that was a long, long time ago. Is there, like,
yeah,
a
before
thriving,
COVID, yeah.
like, yeah, well, everything was before COVID, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so is there a would you say that the player base there is more competitive, or is it just more like these days, is it just more commander all the time?
So yeah, for sure these days it's more commander all the time. But there's like a group of older players, I would say, who are
Mm,
very, on the circuit. They're playing all the RCQs and trying to qualify for pro tours. I
yeah.
think recently there's a Southeast Asian championship,
Mm.
and we had three players from Singapore who made the top eight.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, yeah, really cool. And so there's this group of hardcore, grinders who are still playing all the competitive formats, trying to be the best player, I guess.
Yeah, it's just it's wild to me to think about that you have to go, like, 2 countries away to go and
Yeah,
play in one of these big tournaments, like, I have
yeah,
to fly to the Philippines to be able to go into the RCQ or go to
yeah,
Hong Kong or
exactly.
whatever, and, like,
It's
he it's people just forget, like, "Oh, yeah, you need a passport to go to a tournament." It's like, that's weird. Um,
it's a
but
lot closer than I think traveling from one end of the states to the other, though. So
the States is really should be, like, 4 different countries. This is
I know,
too
right?
big.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
huge.
like yeah, but, like, all the islands down there, they're all very close. It's all, like, an hour, 2 hours flight,
They
not a
are,
big
but
deal.
you're right though. The passport thing, yeah, we have to go through
Yeah,
immigration and
and
all
then they
that
have to go
stuff.
through your cards, and it's
Yeah,
like, "Leave it alone, it's fine."
yeah, I
Um,
know.
yeah, so tell me about it. Tell me what it's like to, like, play Magic there, or, like, do you go meet up on Fridays, or do you have a group that you play Commander with? How many decks do you have? Because I see, like, a million cards behind you. And an is that an
Wait,
uncut sheet?
yeah, yeah. So that's a War of the Spark uncut
Oh, you
sheet.
got one of those too?
Yeah, I have one of those. I tried to get the Mythic collection, I didn't get it. But yeah, all those are decks. So I think I'm running up about 25 commander decks right now.
Ah, Commander players, man, we don't walk with a deck, we walk with a table full of decks.
I know. It's just nonstop building and building. And
Do you
I have like two modern decks. I have a pioneer deck, so
Yeah,
that's
because,
about
like,
it.
you never know, somebody might wanna play normal 60 card Magic.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so how did you get into content creation then? Like, how long have you been playing Commander? If you picked it up after you started, like, if you started playing Magic in Ixalan, when did you
Mhm.
pick up Commander?
So like I said, the Tuvasa deck,
Was
the
it like
Estrid deck,
Yeah,
right?
was it, like,
Uh,
very soon afterwards, or, like, the year after, I guess? When was Tuvasa?
I don't know when did that come out? 2018? I think it was
Must have been 28.
2018. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
2018,
so
2017, something like that.
yeah. So 2018 was when I first started playing Commander, and then so we kind of continued going for the daily events at LGSs, and
Mm,
then we just asked people like, do you play Commander? Do you play Commander? And we started to form a play group. So
mm,
so we have this group of people. I think there are eight of us in the group, and we just every week until now. I think someone like they just played last night, so we still meet up almost every week just to play a few games.
oh, nice.
Um, I started doing content creation in about 2020.
Something to do
We
during lockdown.
Yeah, yeah. We started by playing Brawl.
I love Brawl.
Brawl.
I
We
love
did
Brawl so much.
we did paper Brawl because we thought it'd be cheaper, to get the standard
Mhm,
cards, and it's 60 card decks, right? So there were four of us, and we just met up every week at my house. And we started with this laptop and a GoPro and a handphone, and we just recorded games. And I was like, okay, let me try and edit them. I guess one of the biggest reasons is because at that time I had just discovered game nights,
mm.
and I was like, I wish there were more episodes of game nights. you know So I was like, why don't I try making my own?
Mm.
And to kind of differentiate myself from game nights, I said, let's do brawl.
You know what's funny? At that time I was on a podcast called Commanderin, and my co-host had the same thought because we he lived in LA and he knew Josh and
Mm,
Jimmy really well. I obviously know Josh and Jimmy really well. And we were like, we don't want to do what
wow.
Game Nights is doing. They're right there. So what if we
Yeah.
did a brawl show instead? Because Gavin Verhey is one of my friends, and we spent a whole time. We built a bunch of decks, we taped a bunch of episodes, and then we never put them up. And it was like we could have been the first brawling show, but like nope, we just things happened and they never came out, and I
Oh
don't think they'll ever see the
no.
light of day. But it was
Wow.
fun, it was fine. I love Brawl though. Brawl's like one of my favorite formats. But then they put out the Brawl precons and broke it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Arcane Signet and freaking those four commanders were so stupid.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Corvald and friends.
So
Um
stupid. I also just want to say that the rotation, trying to keep up with rotation was
yeah,
yeah,
that's a challenge.
was a headache for us because
Yeah.
then we have to buy so many new cards and then we can't use the old cards, so that's why we stopped.
Yeah, like, for me, Brawl was really cool because you could just use that crap left over from your, pre-release, build
Mm,
a deck, and have something to do, but
yeah,
then if you wanna actually keep up with it and you start building meta decks and you start building good
yep,
decks, then it becomes very, very expensive, and I
yeah.
see why
Maybe
the
that's a
format just
problem.
kind of, like,
Yeah,
became arena
yeah.
only, right? Yeah.
Mm.
Um, but with that in mind, though, like, man, now I'm stuck on thinking about Brawl, and I was like, "Why am I thinking about Brawl?" It's it's funny because today I was converting a brawl deck I had into a full-on commander deck. Like a brawl
Oh,
deck
cool.
from like actually it was from Ixalan and Dominaria era. So
Ooh.
it was an old Elenda the Dusk Rose
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
vampire
Yeah,
deck that
yeah.
I'm turning into a life gain deck now. And I was like, oh look, I found my old brawl deck. 80% of it I can just put in the commander deck. It's fine. I'll take Tetzamok out because that's we don't need Tetzamok. Um the card was House and Brawl though.
It was.
God, I haven't thought about Brawl in so long, and now I'm just thinking about it all day. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so like, tell me about like, God, I have so many questions for you because like, as a member of the CAG, I feel like deeply curious about what it's like where you live. Do you guys pay attention to the metas in other places in terms of how Commander works, or do you build your own metas, or do you like? I mean, I know realize Magic is all online, so we're all
Mm,
sharing information back and forth, but still, localities have different flavors and feels.
yeah.
How do you like? Do you guys feel like? Is there a Singapore style of Commander?
Um, I don't think so.
Hmm.
I mean, we pretty much just play whatever we
I,
like, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't want to overthink it and try to be like, look at you, mythical, mystic beasts on the other side of the ocean from me,
I
but
know,
like
right?
but it's more just it's a professional interest in I'm just curious, what kind of commander do you guys play? What do you like? Do you pay attention to the rulings or the notes that folks like Sheldon or myself put out? Like, do you care about any of this
Oh,
stuff?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
How can we help
So,
you
I
make
I
your commander better?
I guess one of the most interesting things, I noticed was that when Rebel was here,
Hmm.
people actually knew that we were going around Singapore and we were making videos. And when we stopped by at a LGS, there were a bunch of like CEDH players there, like who just turned up because they wanted to see her.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I was like, What? That's interesting. I didn't know that people follow like CEDH or follow Rebel in Singapore."
Yeah, I didn't
And
either. That's
yeah.
amazing. Yeah,
So
because
I guess a lot of people in Singapore, they do watch the same shows, on YouTube, and they know
yeah.
the CAG members, the people, the prominent figures in the community. And um I guess that's how they find my content, right? Because
Mm,
YouTube links that content to my content.
mm.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. We're all in the same ecosystem together, right? So it's like
Yeah.
it's funny because in the old days, we had news groups and we had like magazines and stuff, but German magic was very different from New York magic, which was very different from Los Angeles magic or Shanghai magic or whatever, because there was not a lot
Mhm.
of communication. But now we're here, literally, you and I can sit and talk on this, or we're on
Yeah.
Discord, or we're on
Yeah.
Twitter, or whatever, and everybody's doing the same damn thing, and we're playing whatever Jimmy is telling us to play.
Yeah.
Um,
I know.
It's seriously, the command zone effect is so big.
It's
Like he
huge.
could come out tomorrow and sit there and say like everybody needs to play Balduvian Shaman in all their decks, and tomorrow it would sell out in every store
Yeah,
in the
it's
world.
gonna the price will rocket all the way up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so stupid. And but they're very cognizant of that. They understand that
Mm.
like, oh, we can't just flippantly name a card now.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because like there was a time when Rebel came to visit us in San Francisco when she was just starting to get to be known, and I was just like, "Oh, I want to go say hello." It was right during lockdown, and so I came. Me and Gavin of the rules committee, we went up to this store in San Francisco to meet up with her and hang out and go play. And people knew who I was, but they didn't know who the rules committee guy was. The guy who actually created Commander is sitting
Wow.
next to me, and they're
What?
like, "Wow, Shivam, we love your stuff so much." And I'm like, "Well, thank you very much." And they're talking like, "Man, do you know the rules committee?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've heard of them. They're my friends." And my friend is just sitting there like holding his mouth, hand over his mouth, like, "Oh, yeah, Shivam, what's a rules committee like?" And I'm like, "Well," and Rebel is just like dying, and these guys have no idea that they're talking to like the dude who created Commander, and it's like, yeah, well, you know, because he wants to stay anonymous and let
Yeah.
like me be like super prominent guy, but it's still funny because like I'm just low on the totem pole and he's my boss, and they're just like, yeah, tell me about him.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, dude, it's weird though. It's like I don't expect people internationally to know who I am, and then they do, and then I get very confused. Um, what do you think? What would you say are the most popular commanders around for you guys?
Ooh, wow. It's
Or are people known for playing certain things and just kind of stick to their pet decks?
yeah, that's a tough one. I guess I would say pet decks. Um
Hmm.
yeah, there's no like pattern or anything. Like I guess the strongest one would be like red players. For some reason, red players just stick to one color for some reason. I don't know why. It's like they just refuse to play any other color.
They
Uh
just want to watch the world burn, baby.
yeah.
Oh,
But no, most people just, play commanders they like.
okay. So then,
Yeah.
what do you think about the format right now? Like, is Commander in a good place? What do you think about it?
Well, actually, my opinion is that there's this whole like content creator meta. And
Mm,
because like you said, right, people watch a lot of gameplay videos and they kind of follow the same cards that we use as content creators. So in
hmm.
a way, I think that, creators have influenced power levels to such an extent that casual EDH has been defined as to be this this is the power level for casual EDH.
Hmm.
And I think that maybe it's a bit wrong. Like, you should feel free to play whatever you want to play.
Right.
Just because, command zone, the house band mana crypt, doesn't mean it's a bad card. It's like, if you have it and you want to play it, I think you should just play it. It's fine with
One
me.
one
Like,
of the things that people I think don't realize is that Command Zone makes a lot of decisions not for gameplay, but for
yeah.
TV.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
decisions that they make
Yeah.
are like what makes for the best looking show, right?
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah.
like, don't put tutors in your deck, don't put like monocrypt in your deck, don't put things that are either going to make the game go too fast or go too
Yeah.
slow.
Yeah.
Don't like spend all your time fetching or searching. We want you to be moving quickly because we want this show to go quickly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But that also means like and they want to play cards that are big and flashy
Yeah.
and do
Yeah.
huge epic things because that makes for good TV. It doesn't make
Exactly.
for good
Yeah.
play, but it
Yeah.
makes for really good like watching people. It's entertaining. But I think part of the problem is people look at these big flashy plays and then they come home and they're like, I want to do exactly that. And then they're
Exactly.
like,
They
why
have that
wasn't
same
this a fun game?
expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, why
But
didn't I have any fun?
that's not how it works. Like, sometimes games end on turn 3, or turn 4, other times they take 20 turns. So I think because of that, people have a expectation that you can't live up to every single game. Not every game of Commander is going to be like an episode of Game Nights. And
That's the damn
we should
truth.
accept that. We should just accept it. Sometimes you have a mana crypt and a soul ring and you win on turn 5, and that's fine. Then we just shuffle up and play again.
And sometimes you have a monocrypt and die to monocrypt.
Exactly. Yeah, that's happened on our show a few times.
Just bolt yourself to death, baby. Let's go. Um, but do you think? How do you think about the format right now, though? Do you think that
Oh,
is there?
okay, so yeah, I guess I didn't really answer the question.
Well,
I
no,
I
I mean,
think
but
it's
I
great,
think what
yeah.
you said was really important though, because it's true. There's a problem that we're running into that
Mm,
content creation is driving the way the game played, and
yeah,
people aren't able to separate the difference between watching spectator sport or what's fun at home. Like decks
yeah,
that are super fun to play at home might be really boring TV.
yeah.
Like they're just not great. That's why I like Olivia's show EDH Hijinks a lot, because those are more
Oh, yeah.
those feel like decks that are more like things that normal people would play, as opposed to like decks made for Showtime.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. Those
Yeah,
are, like, homebrew decks, yeah.
exactly that. But yeah, so like, yeah, what do you think about Commander, the format in general?
Okay, so in general, I think it's fine. Um, One of the things I don't like about Commander right now is I don't know if it's because of Commander, but I think I kind of blame Wizards for printing so many legends, and and like literally every set feels like a Commander set now, to
Right?
the extent, yeah, that it's not doesn't feel special. It doesn't feel like a challenge. And yeah, but otherwise, I do enjoy Commander. I still think that maybe they're trying to balance out the colors for Commander a bit, and that's fine. Maybe they're trying to make better 3 and 4 mana rocks for the format, and that I guess that's a good thing as well. Um,
Mm. Yeah,
so I think
I
overall it's okay.
I think that cards like Midnight Clock are such a great addition to Commander, like
Yeah,
the Cursed Mirror, the 3 mana red rock that lets
yeah,
you copy something. I think these are awesome, right? Like those are really really cool cards. And I hope we get more of
yeah,
those designs and less of like friggin' thought vessels. Like, ooh, it's a 2 mana rock that tap for a colorless. Yay! This is
yeah.
stupid.
I do think that they've learned from their Golos mistakes, and like
Yes,
Golos and Arcane Signets. I think we're beyond that now.
I hope
So
so. But the problem is those still exist.
yeah,
We can ban Golos, but we can't ban Arcane Signet. Like, are
yeah,
you kidding? That'd be like banning Soul Ring. What are you thinking? It's can you? I mean, one of the biggest problems that we run into is the fact that in the last 2 3 years, Magic has just gone crazy haywire with power level. Like treasures are everywhere,
yeah,
dockside is everywhere,
yes,
like old
yeah,
gnawbones, all this crap is just accelerating super fast. All the stupid free spells that came out in Ikoria, all of these like just
yeah,
annoying, irritating things. But
yeah.
they're like, look, it'll rotate out. It's fine. And I'm like, Commander doesn't rotate. This stuff is with us forever.
It
We're
doesn't
stuck.
rotate. Yeah,
It's like
we're stuck.
and people are like, "Well, why didn't you just ban them all?" I'm like, "If I banned 25 cards right now to make Commander go back to, like, being a sane format, A, the format would die, B, everybody would kill me." Like,
Mhm.
let's be real. We can't just ban our way out of, like, this problem,
Yeah,
and so, like, the issue I'm running into, and I'm curious about your thoughts on this, is, like, it feels like we have to have a philosophical discussion with the players because Wati's job is to put out more cards and get us to buy them. They're not going to change that, and they're not going to change it for us. The only thing we can do is ask people to, when you build your deck, build it more reasonably so that we're not just in a arms race all the time, right?
yeah,
But people are
yeah,
like, yeah, but you go first. Right?
yeah.
Like,
Okay, what I will say is that honestly, I'm fine with like the Ikoria free spells. I'm
mm,
okay with Dockside because honestly, Dockside sucks if you're facing 3 creature based decks, right?
yeah,
It doesn't do
it
much.
really
So
does.
yeah. So they are powerful, but only um it's dependent
Contextually.
on the meta. Yeah, it depends on what you're playing against. So it's
Yeah.
not like universally powerful like Arcane Signet. Like
Yeah.
I think there are only a handful of true staples: Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, maybe Ristic Study that would go in any deck that can run it.
Mm.
Even even I think, in from what I've been building and playing against, things like Smothering Tithe, I've been seeing less of that.
I think people just get tired of asking all the time.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Um Yeah, so I to a certain extent, I think that it is self-balancing. People realize that, okay, yeah,
That's
how
a
to
hope,
counter Dockside is just play fewer artifacts.
right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. I play Dockside in my treasures deck because it's
Mm.
thematic, it's relevant, it's a pirate, it's a treasure, it works.
Yeah, yeah, I
But
played a
every
pirate
time,
and treasure deck, yeah.
yeah, but like when I play it in the casual tables I'm at, I get like 3 treasures or like
Yeah.
4 treasures because like everybody's like, I got my like soul ring or a Felwar stone or whatever, it's fine. And I'm like, what the, like you sit there and you watch like I saw a CDH game. I went to a tournament and I saw a CDH
Mhm.
game, and on turn 3, someone plays a dockside and got something like
10
34
treasures.
treasures. And I'm
34,
like,
wow.
what the hell is going on in this game? That like you guys have 34 artifacts on the table right now when like I'm sitting here and it's turn 12 and I drop a dockside and I get like 2 treasures out of it. Like, come on.
Exactly, yeah, exactly, that's how I feel about it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's great in CDH, and
Yeah.
that's why it's played in all the red decks, but it's not so good outside of that.
Yeah, I think CDH's problem is that partner exists, so you can just play 4
Mm,
color good stuff out all the time, and it's like,
yep.
that's boring, but that's a different discussion, that's their problem. Is there a lot of CDH in Singapore? Do you guys have that, like,
Okay,
community
so
or
it's funny because I am trying to grow that community now.
Mm.
My like I see CEDH as a break from playing casual EDH because
Sure, that's
I
reasonable.
guess I still enjoy the competitiveness of a format,
Hmm.
and I do want to sometimes it's nice to take a break from EDH and
EDH is just look, we call those end of the night decks. Like you
Mm,
spend the day playing like 2 or 3 games of normal EDH, and then you're like, okay, it's like 10 o'clock. We got to go home. Let's get one game in. It'll be like an hour long. Bring out your
yeah,
bombs,
yeah,
right? You're
your
like
best
nuclear,
deck, yeah,
just your crazy time. And that's when you
yeah.
pull out the CDH stuff and just go like nutty and just like punch people in the face until they die, and it's great.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. And so to answer your question, I think the community here, no, there's not a very big CEDH community.
mm.
But I am trying to grow that. I have proposed to some LGSs to do some regular events. And when Rebel was here, we of course filmed a couple of games. So that's gonna go up on the channel in the next couple of weeks,
Oh, that's
which are
fun.
CEDH. And it's basically Rebel teaches us how to play CEDH. That's the title of the episode.
You couldn't ask for a better teacher.
I
She's like
know.
the queen of CDH, right? Like she knows her
Exactly.
business.
So it's noobs versus Rebel.
The thing is she's gonna ruin your life. She is a very good commander player.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. She is. She is. I think what we tried to do in that episode is show that it's okay to give it a try and to make mistakes.
Yes.
We're not all perfect. We don't see the optimal line, so it's okay to ask for help even and just learn the format. I think that's
The first
that's
CDH game I ever
important.
played was with Gitrog. And the Gitrog
Oof.
monster deck requires like a PhD to read the
Yes.
primer to understand what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
And I remember I was reading a phone and I had an expert sitting next to me and he was walking me through the line. I'm consulting this manual as I'm going. I'm like, what in the hell is this? This is not magic anymore. I don't know what we're doing. Like, I just
It's
went up
like
to
a
someone,
20
look,
step combo.
yeah, I'm like, look, I've got
Yeah.
Dakmor salvage in my hand. I
Yeah.
win somehow. I trust you know how this works. All this crap is on the table. Just let me know, did it work or not? And then I went back to, I'm like, you know what? I just want to crater hoof people to death. I don't want to think about this.
I know. I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Do you guys have problems with like availability of like older cards?
No.
So you can, okay, well, cool.
Like most
Good.
you can literally walk into a game shop and they'll have all like the older cards. You can just buy them.
Okay, well,
Um,
good.
yeah,
Because that's the thing that comes up a lot is people are like, it's very hard to get like access to older expensive
older
cards or
cards.
like super powerful stuff like like guys cradles or whatever. And I'm like, okay,
Mm.
well, just curious. Like, I'm always interested in seeing what card availability is like in other
Of
places.
course, I mean it is very expensive. So
Well, yeah, obviously, like
yeah,
they're expensive here too, man. Like, um,
so that's why I haven't seen like people just walking into a store and buying one off the shelf, but they're there. They're
yeah,
still
no,
on the shelf.
nobody's like. Nobody's going to the store and picking up a time twister and then taking it on the metro to come home, right? Like that's
I
not
know, right? Yeah.
happening. um, so what do you like to play? What's your favorite kind of EDH deck to play?
Ooh. So okay, I am a big fan of like tribal kind of decks, and I know
Mm,
that's like a very basic like answer,
I
but
love them
anything
too,
like
man.
yeah. So I have like legendary tribal. Tuvasa is like enchantment tribal. I have humans. I have spirits. I have
Wait, who's your humans commander?
Rayhan and Ravos.
Mm. Oh,
So it's a
ooh,
humans make tokens and put +1 counters.
uh, love that. It's like
Yeah.
I just built a Minskin Boo deck, which does basically just that. It's like spam out infinite dice on top of everything. Um,
Ooh, that's cool.
yeah, dude, it uses a lot of dice. Like my creatures get very, very large. Um, but at Philadelphia, I was at the Magic Con and I threw a 37-37 boo at somebody. That was awesome. Like that
Must have
was
felt
really,
good.
really
That
cool.
must have felt good.
Yeah, dude. There's something about just drawing 37 cards and then throwing a hamster at somebody's face and just
Yeah,
being like,
yeah, yeah. Just picturing that scene. That's hilarious.
"Oh yeah, dude, it's a good time." Um, so yeah, what kind of stuff do you do on your show? Tell us about it.
Uh, well, so I mean, I guess the most popular thing is the Commander gameplay.
Well, yeah.
Like we exclusively do in-person gameplay, so we don't do webcam games.
Mm,
We just like I think the focus of our show is really to show the banter, the table talk, and just the social aspect of the game. Um,
good.
and
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's what people enjoy watching. But on top of that, we've also started doing like deck techs, and I do want to do more street interview style videos. So I'm actually working with Wizards and this
nice.
upcoming March of the Machines. Yeah, so March of the Machines, I'm gonna do a couple of videos for them. We're gonna go around the different stores and just talk to people on the ground.
Oh, that's sweet. That's
Yeah.
really, really cool. Is there Wizards has an office there?
So Hasbro has an office here, and
Mm,
there's like a Wizards department within
it's
Hasbro.
like one employee.
And I think there are at least like three.
Yeah, it's like, "Here, you are all of Southeast Asia. Good luck, bye."
Yeah, 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 pretty much, pretty much.
It's like when Thailand has a problem like, apparently there's a huge CDH community in Thailand. I had no idea, and I'm like,
Ooh,
I wanna go play
oh,
Thailand and play Magic. That's weird." Like, I didn't even know you could play Magic there.
yeah. I mean, I guess they use English cards.
Yeah, they use English
Yeah.
cards or, like, Mandarin cards or something, it's fine. Um, yeah, do you guys use a lot do you get a lot of Mandarin cards because or, like, Chinese simplified or Chinese, like, traditional? Because Taiwan and Hong Kong are right there.
No, actually, surprisingly, we get a lot of Japanese cards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
So
weird.
for some,
Okay.
I think it started. It started in the past when the Japanese quality printing was better.
Yes, yes, it was.
Yeah. So the American printing wasn't as good as the Japanese prints, and that's why like the shops here brought in more Japanese prints. But in recent times, I guess they've caught up, right?
Yeah, they realize, "Hey, if
So
they're doing it really good, why don't just all of our stores I mean, all of our printers use the same
yeah,
process?"
yeah.
Um, do you read Japanese?
No, no, I don't.
Man, let me tell you,
No.
I do read Japanese, but Japanese magic cards is not the same Japanese that you use when you're going to a grocery store, so it's very
Oh,
complicated to read those. I lived in Japan for a year and I took it in college a lot, so I was pretty fluent in
cool.
Japanese, but playing Magic in Japanese is very hard because like all the vocabulary is very like tap a stick with a side like you're I don't know
Mm.
technical vocabulary for like I would like to attack your planeswalker right now, and by the way, in response I bolt like that's not
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
don't teach
It's
you
too
that in high school.
complicated. Yeah, it is. Yeah, not
um,
something they teach. No.
yeah, man. So if you wanted to like God, I want to come back to Singapore so badly. I miss Singapore so much. Um, it's been so long since I've been there. Like I haven't been able to travel out that way. Like I went to Cambodia a few years ago, but I was able to go directly from Japan. But like I wish I'd been able to go back to Singapore because like I don't know. It's so cool to play cards there. Like, have you No, that's a dumb question. I'm gonna ask a different one. I'm just like, I don't know, man. It's like this is neat to me. Like, um,
It's like a
it's,
Singaporean content creator playing Magic.
yeah,
Like I
dude, I
think
love it. I love
I
it. I
think
mean, go ahead.
i in Singapore, actually, mm, I don't know why there are no other content creators.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I was like really happy to find you. I was like, wow, there's somebody actually out there. Like, there's a lot of communities that play Magic, but not a lot of them have a presence on the internet
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like ability for me to find. And
Yeah.
I care a lot about Commander outside of America in terms of like, what are you guys doing? How are we? How can I help you?
Mhm.
So like having access to you is almost like more useful to me, right? Like, it's like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. We have content. I have an interview, but now I'm like, tell me about your meta.
Yeah. I know, right?
Did you
It's
get a chance to read Sheldon's State of the Format?
when was the last one? I don't
It came
remember.
out today or yesterday, I guess,
Oh, no,
for
then
you.
I haven't seen the latest one, no.
Ah, okay.
I must yeah.
Yeah, because we're revamping the way the Commander philosophy works and changing a lot of like, we're not changing anything about the format, but we're redirecting how we approach dealing with Commander in terms of like social first, in terms of what is our band criteria meant to be? How do you understand what we're doing? And it's
Mm.
a really fascinating new kind of way to work with the format that Jim has been working on to try to make, because we want to differentiate Commander from other competitive formats, right? Like
Mhm.
everybody plays Commander now, so we need to give you a clear understanding. Why is this banned? Why isn't this banned? What is
Mhm.
your criteria? And the answer is we want to make sure it's fun and social, like social
Yeah.
first, right?
Yeah.
And then we want to make sure that your deck still works all the time. Like, we want to be consistent and have stability, because it's
Yeah.
not fun to be like, oh, my deck was banned out from under me. Like all those guys who
Yeah.
lost their goalless decks, that sucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. We're just trying to make a better format for as many people as we can. So I value having like input from people like you who are well and outside of my standard sphere, which is why I'm asking like availability questions. Like I'm asking you questions I don't normally ask in interviews just because like I need to know for my role,
Yeah.
what's it like? What is it like to play Commander so
What's
far away
happening
from us?
across the world?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
just in general though, like you guys use the same internet we do. You get the same kind of content, you get the same cards we do.
Yeah.
Um, is there anything that the rules committee can do that would help enhance your experience? Or is there anything we should be changing or focusing on or looking at?
Honestly, I feel that because we are so, like you said, we are kind of modernized, we just follow you guys. that's that's what happens. We just see what's happening there and we kind of just follow and go along with it because we're so small. We can't
Yeah.
influence anything, right?
Well, that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
it's I don't know, it's just like I love the fact that it's well, I love and also am super weirded out by the fact that I can just make a statement and somebody 50,000 miles away from me is gonna be like, "Well, crap, I have to change my whole deck now."
Pretty much. Pretty much. That's what happens. Yes.
It's it's wild, man. The internet has made all of this so weird and so much fun. But you know what,
I
man?
think even
Hmm?
recently they're just sharing with you because like I said
Yeah.
we have this national telegram group, right?
Yes.
So I can just see here like just over the past 2 or 3 days people are just talking about new videos that are coming out and they're just sharing it on the chat and all the content is pretty much from
The
America.
West. Yeah.
Yeah, the West. So
That I really want there to be more content from outside of America because I just think you guys have a different way of looking at Commander. Even if it's the same, it's still just your local perspective, and the way you talk to each other is not the way we talk to each other. And
yeah,
I just think
yeah.
that's worth sharing and exploring. And
Oh,
like,
I now that you mention that because so I can compare my experience for example when I was at the Magic Summit, right, and I was at
oh, did you go
Magic
to Utah?
30. Yeah, I was at Utah, so I played with I
Yeah.
went to the LGS there. I played with a lot of locals and Westerners.
Hmm.
So I think I don't know, but from my experience in Singapore there's a lot more shouting. Like
Well, that's also just yeah, yeah, there is. Yeah, there's a lot more shouting in Singapore.
I,
That is the damn truth.
it just seems like, the way
Slap
that,
your car down much harder.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the way that people were playing in Utah, people were just more calm and collected. And in Singapore, I don't know why, but we just tend to get very excited and overly loud. Yeah.
What did you think of Magic Summit or Magic 30?
Oh, it was great. I think Summit was better than 30.
Really?
Just in terms of, people meeting creators, people having access to more formats,
Mm,
and being able to just find a group and sit down and play immediately. That was so much better at the Magic Summit.
mm,
So I
that's
I
very
met a
cool.
lot of people there. People just came up to me and was like, "Hey, you're Esmond," and I was like, "Wow, you actually know me." So that was pretty cool.
Isn't that the coolest feeling in the world when you're just like, "Oh my god, people watch my stuff? What?"
Yeah, it's so strange. Yeah, it's surreal.
Especially when you're on the other side of the planet, right?
I
Like, you're like,
know.
"What? Why do you know who I am? That's
I
rad."
know, right? Yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
so that was cool. Yeah.
Sweet, man.
Mhm.
Okay, well, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate this.
No, this was a
Um,
good talk. Yeah.
yeah, like, I'm super excited. Like, I really someday I will come back to Singapore by God and we'll hang out. Or if you end up coming
Yes,
to, like, one of the other Magic events that we're having here, I would love to actually sit and jam a game with you sometime.
for
But,
sure. Yeah.
in the meantime, though, if people wanted to find you or your content, where could they go?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I'm basically mostly on YouTube. Just search like QMTG or Quintessential MTG. Our commander gameplay is called Quintessential Commander. So, yeah, that's pretty much how you can find us.
Cool. Do you
Yeah.
guys have a schedule for when you put out videos, or is it just kind of like shows up when it shows up?
So currently we do two gameplay episodes a month, and
That's
they
pretty good.
usually come out on the weekends. So either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And then in between those 2 weeks, we have like deck tags, we have random magic content that comes out.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. We are
Well,
specifically trying not to be like a commander channel. We wanna,
mm,
explore more of magic rather than just focus on commander. Yeah.
people say that, and then they end up just doing Commander all the time.
I
When
know, I know, I know.
I started this show with the express goal of not being a Commander show.
Right. That's not working.
But you know what? When you have a brand, you have a brand, and this is the problem.
Yeah.
Uh, what do you think of the Lord of the Rings stuff?
Oh, well, okay, so I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan. So
Mm,
I think it's cool. I like what they did with the different treatments for the rings. Um Other than that, I don't have any strong opinions on the
like
set.
whatever it is, the thing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah,
open a few more packs just to see if I get the
just
one
like with the
ring,
One Ring.
but that's about it. Yeah.
I just want those Soul Rings. I'll be honest; those Soul Rings look super cool.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Those soul rings look good for sure.
did you?
But those are the commander set, right? I think.
Yeah. What did you think of Phyrexia?
Phyrexia, I enjoyed. I enjoyed the whole storyline. That's why I'm looking forward to March of the Machines.
Oh man, the
Um,
first two stories from March of Machines came out today.
yeah, excited. So I think what they did with Toxic was actually much better. A
Hmm.
better implementation of Infect. And I played the precons, and I actually kept both of the precons, which is kind of rare.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have like the Boros one, and I have the XL, the Toxic
Yeah. What
one.
did you like? The Abzan one was very cool, the toxic one, but I did
Mhm.
not get the Boros one because I was looking at that like it's another Boros equipment deck, right? Like it's just
Well,
more of the
no, it's a
same.
it's a Boros tokens deck. And okay, so I specifically like commanders that give me card advantage.
Mm.
Right? So Nayali, who is the commander, whenever you attack with a token, you get to exile the card from the top of your deck. And then you can play that as long as you've attacked with a token that turn.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's kind of like you want to make tokens, you want to attack with tokens, and then you get rewarded by having some cards from that. And because she gives your tokens double strike, so they get huge as well. Uh, I don't know. Somehow that it's my first ever Boros deck, and that kind of just appealed to me for some reason.
Well, I mean, they've definitely been doing a better job of making Boros good and
Yeah,
interesting lately. Like
yeah.
my Boros deck still sucks because it was built in 2011 and is got 2011 Boros all over it, so it's not great. But
Attack,
by
just
God, it
attack,
makes me
attack,
happy.
attack. Yeah,
I mean, look, I put out a lot of tokens and I turn them sideways. What do you want in my life? Like
yeah, yeah.
this is the
It's
world we live in. Um, yeah, but I mean, once you got like things like Ember Cleave, suddenly it becomes a lot easier to win.
oh,
Uh,
for sure.
yeah. Anyways, I could talk about that deck all day long. Let me tell you. But my friends, you can find me at Gearboard Gears. You can find this show anywhere podcasts are sold, and at Cool Stuff Inc. on Tuesdays and at YouTube on Tuesdays. Thank you to my editor EK. And remember, my friends, it's not magic without the gathering, and we will see you next time.